All right, guys, we have one more story. Target is funding the training of your kids to be gender activists in school. Let me just set this up for sound because we do have some things to listen to in this one. And again, guys, I'm also pretty sure I'm the only one reporting on this. I could be wrong. A lot of people are sniffing around Glisten. A lot of people are sniffing around the story of Target funding Glisten for $2 million. A lot of people have been reporting on Glisten for a really long time. I never got really that into reporting on Glisten because a lot of other people were touching on things, but I'm pretty sure I'm the only one reporting on this aspect of it. I could be wrong. Fact check me if you find someone else, but let's take a look. In the last few days, a lot of parents have heard of Glisten for the first time. Glisten is a far left progressive group that has been pushing gender ideology and woke social justice activism into schools for a long time. After the latest controversy leading to the boycott of Target, it was revealed that the chain of stores was also making an annual donations to Glisten, donating at least $2.1 million. Dawn, did the quartering specifically show you the webinar that Glisten held with the seniors in high school talking about how Glisten was funding their GSAs? See, this is the thing, guys. There are people who talk about Glisten. There are people who talk about Target. What I do is I specifically show you the receipts and the recordings that Dawn, to be quite frank, I would be shocked off my chair if the quartering showed you what I've got. Let me know if he has, but I strongly doubt the quartering showed you anything that even resembles what I've got. And this is why we don't listen to clickbait influencers on the internet, because they never bring the receipts. But correct me if I'm wrong. Now, the news articles are correct. Glisten supports a variety of woke indoctrination in schools, from curriculum to policies hiding information from parents. But there is something that Glisten is doing that's not getting any coverage. They are literally sponsoring the groups training your kids to be queer activists as an after-school activity. The Gender and Sexuality Alliances. And Dawn confirms, no, the quartering did not show you what I'm showing you. Not all journalism is created equal. Don't mean to pat myself on the back too much, but I knew the quartering wasn't doing this on the face of it. So, the gender sexuality alliances are important, guys. If you have a child and they are in school right now, do not let them join a GSA. Keep them as far away from that GSA as humanly possible. It might seem like a good idea. It was once a good idea, but it has now become a bastardized activist organization whose only goal is to indoctrinate your child, and I'm going to prove that to you with video. A brief introduction to GSAs. I remember learning what a GSA was in the 2000s when I was watching the Showtime show Queer as Folk, which was one of my favorite shows back in the day. One of the main characters was in a GSA in his school. Back then, it was called the Gay Straight Alliance and was used as a way to combat prejudice against gay people. Things were different in the 2000s when there were legitimate policies and attitudes in the country that kept gay people in a distinct class, separate from their straight counterparts. Thank you, VT Num, for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. However, after gay marriage was legalized, things changed. The fight had been won. Gay people had the same legal rights as straight people. Sure, things weren't perfect, but they were a lot better than they were. Here's the problem. Nonprofits cease to exist when problems they're fighting for are solved. So the Gay Straight Alliance, the organization that started the Gay Straight Alliance Network, the organization that started GSAs in the late 90s, changed the focus to a new problem, now moving beyond the gender binary. So, in the 90s, when GSAs were started, there was a legitimate problem. Then, because society got better and gay people were accepted, gay marriage was passed, the problem was largely solved, right? And so you have this GSA network that's making money as a GSA network, and then all of a sudden, the problem that they were making money off of was solved. They didn't need to exist anymore. But this is a problem for people who have built up an entire identity around making money on this specific problem. So they were like, okay, this problem is solved, but now we need to move over here and solve this problem instead. At that time, they also changed their name from Gay Straight Alliance to Gender and Sexuality Alliance to reflect this new focus. And you can see this. This is literally on their website. And that new focus became introducing your kids to queer Marxism. Yay, congratulations. GLSEN is training your kids to be activists. One of GLSEN's top 4 priorities is to support all things GSA. It's right on their homepage in the resources section. You can see there, it's under resources. They also have it as the top 4 things GLSEN supports right down there. On their homepage, dedicated to GSAs, which have a ton of resources. I couldn't even get through all the resources these people have. But the one thing I did look at was a webinar they held in February of this year, a couple months ago, so it's really new, with a panel of students discussing the work they're doing with their GSA and how GLSEN is helping them to do it. And you guys just know I love nothing more than when organizations put high school students on the internet. It is one of my favorite things when organizations virtue signal out to the world how just and virtuous they are by putting high school students on the internet. Let me show you a few clips from the presentation to illustrate what targets donations $2.1 million to GLSEN are funding and why this is just as important as the curriculum they're funding or the policies they're funding. GLSEN is working with minor students in high school. GLSEN hires a young staff, like Program Associate Onyx, they, them, theirs pronouns, to work with students. In this presentation, Mary, she, hers pronouns, Amanda, she, her pronouns, and Ollie, they, them pronouns, are all seniors in high school and members of GLSEN's National Student Council. Let's listen.
My name is Onyx Eva. I use they, them pronouns. I am I'm the youth programs associate at GLSEN. And I will go ahead and pass it off to Lucia.
Hi all, my name is Lucia Salazar Davidson. I'm 18 and a freshman at Moore Park College. I use they or any pronouns, and I am the Freedom Fellow for the West region.
Thanks. Mary?
Hi, I'm Mary Lou, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm currently a senior in high school, and I'm a part of GLSEN's National Student Council.
Thank you. Amanda?
Hi, I'm Amanda. I am a high school senior. My pronouns are she, her, and I am also a member of the GLSEN National Student Council.
Awesome. Ollie?
Hi, my name is Ollie. I'm a senior from Florida. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm a represent from the Southern region in the National Student Council.
From Florida. Ollie is from Florida. From Florida, you say. But it was my understanding that Ron DeSantis had outlawed this stuff in Florida. It was my understanding that people who live in Florida, their kids were safe and protected from all this stuff. But Ollie, just a couple of months ago, is saying on the internet that Ollie is from Florida And Ollie is still doing all of this stuff in their school with the help and support of Glisten. Let's keep going. When students join a GSA, they are not doing so to become activists. They're doing so to find a social club, students like them they can connect with. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. They're high school students. Of course, they want to connect with other students. The Glisten Youth Programs Associate, Onyx, even admits that it was the search for a friendship that brought her to the GSA and that she wasn't looking to become an activist. Let's listen.
So our first question is, how did you initially get involved in a GSA and what made you want to join or start one? And for me, I knew that I was sort of coming out into my identity as a queer person, figuring out who I was, what labels resonated with me, and I really wanted some queer friends in my life. I wasn't interested in activism yet when I was getting involved in a GSA. But I knew that I wanted a space to find other young LGBTQ plus people. And so I decided to start a GSA at my high school because I knew that GSAs were a great place to find social networks. But my high school didn't have one at the time when I was a freshman. So the search for friendship was really what brought me to a GSA.
So the search for friendship is what brought her to the GSA, not looking to be an activist. The search for friendship. Judy asks, can you translate they or any? They or any means that they would prefer they, but really you can use any pronouns with them and they're not going to like make a stink over it. But the preference should be on they, and they is the pronoun that you use most of the time. I think it could mean something different to them. I'm not exactly sure. But I do want to address this. Baltazar says they, them equals split personality. No. That is not what it means at all. And I'm going to warn the conservatives in the chat who are saying that this is what it means, because when you guys dismiss them like this, that is when they win. Being a they, them is a political act of rebellion against the system. I've got an article going up on the Substack probably within the next day, hopefully tonight, maybe tomorrow, all about what the term queer actually means. It is an act of political rebellion. It is their introduction to Marxism. It is the first step in becoming the best trans Marxist activist they can be. And if you guys dismiss this by saying, they're all just mentally ill, they'll grow out of it, you're going to lose. And it will be your own damn fault. Let's keep going. Well, I don't think he was joking. I don't think he was. And this is why conservatives are in the predicament that they're in. Because they make jokes out of everything as a way of dismissing things or saying it's going to blow over without realizing what they're talking about. And then then all of a sudden it becomes a bigger problem than they had anticipated, and they wonder why, and they're caught off guard because they weren't listening in the first place, and they were making jokes. They're like, it's gonna blow over. It's just liberalism is a mental disease. No, it's not. They're winning. They're kicking our asses handily because people are making jokes. Ollie, the high school student from Florida with the they, them pronouns, when remember, this is not happening in Florida. Florida's red. Florida's safe. Ron DeSantis is saving us all. But Ollie, the high school student from Florida with the they, them pronouns, says basically the same thing as Onyx, that they went to the GSA to make friends.
Like the other people who have spoken, I definitely joined because at my middle school, we didn't have a GSA. I was essentially in all my classes the only queer person. So I wasn't anticipating any advocacy or activism at all. I just joined because I was really excited that my high school had a GSA, my middle school did not. I just wanted to make more queer friends with similar perspectives, identities, life experiences to me.
And just in case anyone thinks that Baltazar was joking, no, Baltazar was not joking. Baltazar is now saying in the chat that they don't care what all this means and they're just sticking around because Baltazar really wants to lose. They really want to lose. They want to lose badly. Baltazar wants the woke left to win. He wants to distract all conservatives and anyone being serious about this from actually fighting back by creating nonsense and saying, I don't care. It's a mental disease. This is all from the CIA. I don't even know why we're talking about this. This is why conservatives lose, guys. I just don't know how much more clear I can make it. This is quite literally why you lose. So we have the kids in the schools that are feeling awkward because they're teenagers and that's just the way it goes. And they're like, I'm going to go to the Gender Sexuality Alliance to meet other people like me and to make friends. Okay? They want to make friends. They're walking in the door looking for friends. And then once they join the GSA, the activism training starts. GLSEN provides GSAs with specific resources to help them do activism within their school. Ollie from Florida, I thought this wasn't happening in Florida. Ollie from Florida explains the types of things they do, including protesting the Don't Say Gay bill and training teachers on how to be better allies. The students are literally training the teachers. One might argue that the schools are getting around Ron DeSantis eliminating the DEI programs by having the students do the training the DEI offices were doing before, with training provided by GLSEN and their GSAs. And Baltazar is now getting blocked because he's not saying anything useful. Let's listen.
We do a little bit of everything in terms of providing a social space and advocacy. Specifically, when we have our meetings, we often do presentations on queer history and culture. Actually, this month for Black History Month, we're doing a bunch of presentations on prominent Black queer figures like Bayard Rustin, Gladys Bentley, so that, queer students can be in an affirming place, where their history, they know that their history matters and they can learn about themselves. And a lot of the advocacy work is about improving conditions specifically within the school. So we've had walkouts for the recent Don't Say Gay bills. We've done a lot of negotiating with staff in terms of helping trans students with like name changes and such, being middlemen in order to improve the reporting system so that the students who are bullying queer students are being held accountable, teacher training for teachers to be better allies, stuff like that.
Why are students in a GSA club funded by GLSEN, which is funded by Target? Why are students giving teachers training on how to be good allies? Balthasar does need to read the Communist Manifesto. Absolutely. Ollie then discusses participating in direct action. The things that Ollie are describing are not necessarily bad, and I really want to emphasize this. Not everything is bad. Not everything is something that we need to get up in arms about. I'm not actually arguing that Ollie shouldn't be doing the things that they're doing as a high school student. What I am arguing is that they're using a school club that is funded by Target's money to teach children in Florida and other places too how to engage in activism. This is like the gateway drug for becoming a queer activist. Let's listen.
The next question is, how do you engage with political issues in your GSA? Do you engage in direct action, send letters, provide a healing space, or something else? And this time, let's start with Ollie.
Hi. So our main forms of engagement, a lot of it I discussed before. We also we do a lot of educational efforts. Like we've set up like booths, for example, for I think No Name Calling Week to kind of like educate the broader school public about the importance of like respectful pronoun usage, use of like posters and stuff, with a combination of direct action. So negotiating directly with higher administration, protests, as in like walkouts, etc.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
And then in the next video, we have a teacher advising a GSA named Christy, pronoun she, hers, describing helping kids to engage in political action. Again, none of what Christy is going to describe in this video is necessarily bad. I just question why kids who came to get to know each other in an after school club to make friends are instead being put into junior activism school. Doesn't make sense to me. They wanted a social club, and instead they're being trained to be activists.
But one of a couple of specific things we've done, my GSA members wrote a proposal to our principal regarding bathrooms and trying to, I like that part about thinking about like trying to find places for all of our students to have a role, and that could look different for all of them. And so some students wanted to actually present the proposal, and then others just wanted to be researchers or writers or people just that are preparing it and working together as a group. So we have written proposals. We've gone through training on how to talk to our legislators and how to write letters or emails. And then we're actually getting ready to take a group to our state capitol so that we can actually do meetings with them and then be part of that process. So we try and kind of provide those spaces for any students who would like to join us.
Onyx, who again, Onyx is the GLSEN Youth Programs Associate, asked the panelists a question about how they help GSA members get involved with fighting for queer issues. And remember, the definition of queer is that queer is a political act. Okay? Queer issues is not about fairness and justice for gay people. It's not about treating everyone equally. It's not about that at all. Queer issues is about a political act designed to destabilize the system. Mandatory Carrie, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Well, Dixie, if it's the Democrats pushing this, then why am I showing you students in Florida who are doing it? Why am I literally showing you students in Florida talking about this, Dixie? Didn't Ron DeSantis fix this?
So our next question comes from one of our registrants, and they had asked, how do you get your GSA members involved in fighting for queer issues? Because I think a lot of times it really can be kind of intimidating to go into activism. You don't know how it's going to be perceived by other people. You don't know if you might get bullied or ostracized because of it. And so I'm curious about the ways that you create pathways to make it easier for members to be involved in fighting for these issues. So let's start with Amanda.
Like I said, people have different comfort levels. So generally, I think it's good advice to just do what the group is comfortable with, but also what your community needs. So what we've done in the past, and also another thing is that members of a GSA are often really, really passionate about fighting for queer issues, but they maybe just don't know where to start. So as a GSA leadership person, your main goal should just be to figure out like what can we do with our collective power. What we've done is we've had our professional development. We got our unisex bathrooms open. It can be something, huge. It can be something really small, but as long as the students in the GSA feel like they're making change, you are making change and you're empowering young leaders to, keep it going.
Oh, Dixie. So stupid. So naive. Dixie, if you don't think there's still those books in the libraries in Florida, you should pass whatever drugs you're taking, Dixie, share with the rest of us, because that is one of the most retarded takes I've heard on the internet all day long. Downright stupid, Dixie. You're listening to people who are lying to you. This is why conservatives will never save us, guys. I just don't know what else to say. I really just don't know what else to say. But you know what? When students engage in the activism in Florida, even though this isn't supposed to be happening in Florida, but when the students engage in activism in Florida, I've been doing this long enough where I can clearly identify people who want to learn and people who want to cause problems and be disruptive. Dixie has no desire to learn at all, and I'm going to let her in my chat a little while longer before I block her, but it's very clear to me that she has no desire to learn. She has no desire to actually engage with this in any serious way, and if she wants to try to ask serious questions, I'm happy to help her. But right now, all I'm seeing is reeing and nonsense and conservative influencer talking points that are not grounded in reality at all. But guys, do you know what? When students really do a great job at activism, Glisten will send their GSA swag bags in order to reward them, and including Ollie talking about how Glisten is so great, and Glisten gives them all this swag funded by Target to reward kids for doing a good job.
We have a little prize box for when students do good. We reward them because Glisten, who is so wonderful and kind, has given me a bunch of Glisten merch that I get to now hand out to students. So we're all 5-year-olds here.
Yes.
So Glisten is giving them a bunch of merch to hand out to students. Isn't that nice of Glisten? Isn't that nice? Where are they getting the money for this merch, do you ask? Well, many organizations are funding those swag bags that Glisten is sending the GSAs to hand out, with Target being one of them. You can see a full list of their sponsors on their websites, but here are a few of them: Hollister, Walt Disney, Target, Wells Fargo, PetSmart, Morph, Ascena, Dream It Real, Gucci, YouTube, Penn Mutual, New Balance, Amazon. This is McDonald's, State Farm, Hulu, Urban Outfitters, etc., etc., etc. You can find the full list of their sponsors on their website. So, guys, that is proof that Target is funding clubs in your kids' schools that are training them how to be the best queer Marxist activists that they could be. And you heard it right from the students who are in the clubs. Yay. Yay, 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 yay. All right, guys, that is all I have for the stream today. But I just have one quick question before we go. And I did put a poll in the chat. So we started off with independent journalist extraordinaire Christina Buttons saying, hang on, got to get on the screen. So we started off the stream today by exploring the fact that independent journalist extraordinaire Christina Buttons has said that I am one of the most mentally unstable people that she's ever had the misfortune of interacting with, and that I'm a legitimate psychopath and I belong in an insane asylum, and that everyone knows I'm a menace, but everyone's too afraid to say it because they'll obviously be my next target. And the reason I call her independent journalist extraordinaire is that she's taking money from over 1,000 people on her Substack to report to them on gender ideology and gender medicalization of students. But it doesn't really seem like this Substack has any independent journalism at all. There is zero unique independent journalism on this website. There are opinion pieces and lists of links. So Christina Buttons is saying she is the best independent journalist and that I'm a lunatic and an insane person and belongs in an asylum, etc., etc., etc. But I today on this one stream told you the story of how Tufts is studying non-binary 3-year-olds that no one else on the internet is reporting on. I told you the story of the Groomer Middle School that is opening exclusively for trans and non-binary kids in New York City that no one else is reporting on, that is being advised by the Tufts University professor. And I told you the story of how Target is funding clubs in your kids' schools, including in Florida, training them how to be the best gender activists that they can be as a part of an after-school club. And so as we wrap up the stream today, I just have one simple question for you guys. I did put the poll in the chat on YouTube. Who's the better independent journalist? Is it me? Or is it our bestie, Christina Buttons? And it looks like 95% of you say that I'm doing a pretty good job. And I think the rest of those votes are from Bot, who is trolling the chat. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will be back at 5 p.m. tomorrow for our next stream. And in the meantime, make sure you are subscribed to my Substack, Carlyn, Karlyn, .substack.com, where you can find all of my independent journalism, research that you will not find anywhere else on the internet, telling you the stories that your conservative media can only dream about telling you. Guys, I have a community call starting in about 20 minutes. I will see my supporters then. Take care. Have a great rest of your Memorial Day. And we'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Bye.